Good afternoon. We're back with more DC Dual Force, and today we're going to do a preview of the Blue Beetle mini set. So the Blue Beetle cards are actually in the game, sort of. They can be created by effects that create cards, and they are listed in this collection area under the unowned cards, but we can't actually buy them yet. We'll take a look at them though and see what we think. Presumably there will be a Blue Beetle hero, and I can only speculate what he's going to be like based on the versions of Blue Beetle that we saw in the Blue Beetle comic. We'll take a look at that as well, assuming that he's going to be similar to the version that we saw in the comic. So first up, for the Blue Beetle cards, there are none in the Might faction. In the Energy faction, we have Skeets. Skeets is a free card with 1/2 in stats, and after Skeets attacks, draw a gold card. So the Blue Beetle cards all seem to have this synergy revolving around drawing and playing your gold resource cards. If you can get an attack off with Skeets, drawing a gold card is quite good. It's very good. And you'll probably be able to get an attack off with Skeets a good deal of the time. Now, typically with an after attacks type of effect, the card does have to survive. If he doesn't survive the attack, he doesn't get this effect off. So you'll have to have him attack the hero. The best use for this would be playing him on turn 1 and then having him attack and you draw a gold card. That would be very good. If you draw him later in the game, and you're very unlikely to get an attack off with him, and so he would be quite bad. So he generates card advantage for you if you get his attack off. He generates card disadvantage for you if he doesn't, if he dies uselessly. So a good card early in the game, a bad card late. Is he good overall? He's so-so. I'll run him. I'll try him out. I'd probably rank him as like a B tier card, based on usually the criteria I have is S tier is always good or included in nearly every deck. A tier is almost always good, or slightly less than S tier. B tier is sometimes good, and C tier and D tier are less than that. So I would say this card very good turn 1. After that falls off pretty significantly. Next up we have Booster Gold. We already have another card called Booster Gold. This is a second version of Booster Gold. As far as I know, he's the first character to get a second version with the same name. And this is a gold resource card with 5/5 in stats, and the first time you play a gold resource card each turn, generate a gold resource. Now obviously he has to survive, because you generate only 1 gold and 1 silver. I'm assuming that Booster Gold doesn't immediately generate a gold resource, that he has to survive for 1 turn. And then the next turn, if you play a gold resource card, you generate another gold resource. The problem is you don't run so many gold resource cards in your deck that you could take advantage of this very often. Because if you run too many gold resource cards in your deck, then you end up floating bronze resources. Floating means you aren't able to utilize them. And that's bad, and usually you win if you do that. So you run, typically in my decks I run 9, sometimes 10 gold cards. And I rarely have a time when gold cards stack up in my hand, so I don't think Booster Gold is going to be useful all that often. Now if he does generate a gold resource on the turn that you play him, like he procs off of himself, well then that's amazing, and I'd run him quite often. I don't think that'll be the case, though. I think he has to survive for a turn, and then he'll generate a gold resource off of a gold resource. And I don't think that will be useful often enough for me to run this card. So I'd rank him in like the C tier, probably. Next up we have Brenda Del Vecchio, a card that we saw in the comic. She is a bronze resource with 1/1 in stats, and she draws all the gold cards in the top 5 cards of your deck. Oh, we'd have to do some math to determine what the likelihood is of having a gold card in the top 5 cards of the deck if there is 10 gold cards in the deck. So any single card, you have a 1 in 4, 25% chance of having a gold card on the top of your deck. Ballparking it, I guess there's about an 80% chance there will be one gold card at least in the top 5 cards of your deck if you're running 10 gold cards. So an 80% chance of drawing one gold card. I would say that this card in my mind is roughly equivalent to like a 1-3 in stats, which isn't very good, or like a 2-2, which isn't very good for a bronze resource. If you draw 2 gold cards though, she's quite good. How often is that going to happen? I would guess not very often. It never happened in well, it happened pretty often in the comic, but the comic deck was constructed differently. How often is that going to happen? I don't know. My guess would be less than half the time for sure. Let's say it happened 1 in 4 times. So we could maybe handicap this card as like a 3-2. It's still not that good. I don't think it's that good. You'd have to really be running some strong gold synergies, I think, for this to be any good. The stats are just too weak. Next up we have Paco Testas. Paco is a bronze resource card, which counts as a gold resource card wherever he is. You still paid bronze to play him. 3-3 in stats. Now, why does it matter that he counts as a gold card? Well, let's take a look at what I theorize is going to be the Blue Beetle hero. This is my best guess. The screenshot is taken from the comic. If this is in fact the actual Blue Beetle hero, he has an hero power cost of 2, deals 3 damage to an enemy recruit, and his damage increases when you play a gold card, which means that Paco Testas would permanently increase Blue Beetle's damage. This can only be used on an enemy recruit, so limited usefulness in dispatching enemy heroes. If this is indeed the Blue Beetle hero that comes out, or something similar to it that increases in power when you play a gold card, that would be the value of Paco Testas. He counts as a gold card. 4 other effects that play off of your gold cards, and 3-3 in stats is pretty good, so I like this card. I think he's quite good. I would play him in any deck that needs these gold cards to combo. Next up we have Blue Beetle from the Tactics faction, a silver card. This is the first card that has this gold card synergy in terms of has an effect when you play a gold card. Apart from the Blue Beetle hero, if that is indeed the Blue Beetle hero that comes out, and I'm not sure that it will be. Anyway, Blue Beetle is a silver resource card with 6-4 in stats and hunter, and after you play a gold card, charge your leaders. So if you can play him on a turn when you play your gold card, which you can very easily, you get 6-4 in stats and a charge on your leaders. This is quite good. Or you could play him with Paco, who counts as a gold card, and you get 6-4 in stats plus Paco's 3-3 in stats plus you charge your leaders. That's very good. I think this is a very good card for the Tactics deck along with Paco. I'd play the 2 of them, at least try them out and see how they go. I'd rank Blue Beetle and Paco in the A tier. I think they're very solid cards. Brenda I'd rank as a B tier card, Booster Gold C tier, and Skeets B tier. But Paco and Blue Beetle definitely in the A tier in my opinion, at least without ever playing them, apart from the comic. But I like this card. I think it's quite good. Next up we have Jaime Reyes, or Jaime Reyes. Sorry for my pronunciation. He is a silver resource card. After you play a gold resource card, transform Jaime Reyes into, let's assume it's Jaime Reyes, into Blue Beetle. Jaime Reyes has 2-2 in stats. This is an ultimate rarity card. What does the Blue Beetle do? Well, let's take a look. This screenshot is taken from the comic. He is partially damaged. He actually, in this screenshot, he actually has 7/7 in stats when he spawns. And he is a gold card, and he has Evade and Hunter, and after you play a gold card, ready Blue Beetle. So that's a very strong character. So if we can play Jaime Reyes on the same turn that we play a gold card, and we can do that very easily because he's a silver card, or we could play him with Paco, you can transform Jaime Reyes into a 7/7 immediately that can ready himself when you play a gold card, and has some nice traits. That's very strong ultimate. I like it a lot. I think it's an A tier ultimate, at least. Possibly higher when we test him out, but at least an A tier. Very strong. Looks like Tactics gets a lot of good Blue Beetle cards. And Tactics seems to be the primary beneficiary of the Blue Beetle cards. A nice upgrade for Tactics. A faction that didn't really need an upgrade. So I have, as of right now, Might and Tyranny as the best factions in terms of the cards that they have to offer, assuming you have access to the full collection. If you don't have the very strong ultimates from Tyranny, Darkside, Necron, and or Riddler, then Tyranny really is nothing to speak of. But if you do, in my opinion, Tyranny is second best right after Might, with Tactics and Energy coming behind at third best, and then Anarchy bringing up the rear. I think these Blue Beetle cards are going to elevate the Tactics faction up to the level of Tyranny, at least, and possibly higher. We'll see how it goes. But I think that Jaime Reyes is strong enough to elevate Tactics up a tier from being maybe roughly equivalent or a little bit better than Energy up to the level of at least Tyranny and possibly Might as well. Next up we have Carapax, the Soul Anarchy card from the Blue Beetle mini set. We've got no Might cards, 2 Energy cards, 4 Tactics cards, 1 Anarchy card, and that is Carapax. A gold resource card who cannot protect. That means that anybody can attack right over him. He can't be used to protect a hero. However, he has 6/3 in stats and he is invincible. He cannot be damaged or KO'd. That seems incredibly strong to me. That basically means he's going to kill a 6 attack or 6 health recruit every round for the remainder of the game, or deal 6 damage to a hero every round for the remainder of the game. Can't ever be removed from the board. And the only downside is that he can't be used to protect, so you're going to put him in like the back tier or the middle row because you will want to use other characters to protect your heroes. You'll put him in the middle of the row and then you just use him every round. That seems incredibly strong to me. That actually seems pretty overpowered. I'd rank this as an S tier card, at least without ever playing him. I'd rank him as an S tier card. I would include this in every Anarchy deck. Seems borderline broken to me. This seems really, really good. And it puts your opponent in like kill or be killed almost immediately mode, I would think. This seems incredibly strong. Maybe I'm missing something, but to me this invincible trait just seems unbelievably strong. And it's only a rare card, so we're going to be seeing this a lot in the meta, I expect. Anarchy does need the help, but I'm not sure giving it an incredibly overpowered card is the way to go. Next up we have Infiltrator Scarab from the Tyranny faction. Has the hidden trait Silver Resource, 1/1 in stats. After Infiltrator Scarab attacks a leader, sacrifice it and summon the Reach in your empty spaces. In the comic, the Reach was just a character with no ability and 3/3 in stats, so after this Scarab attacks a leader, it will die and then you fill your board with 3/3s if in any empty spots. Not going to be easy to get an attack on a hero on demand. It's not always easy. This doesn't have the Hunter trait. It has hidden, so it stays on the board. But the opponent has time to prepare for it by defending. If you do have the ability to get the attack through to the hero, you're probably in an okay spot anyway, and you may not have that many vacant board spaces to fill. I'd rank this as a B tier card. I think it'll be useful occasionally, but often it'll be hard to get that ability off. And when you do, you won't always actually need its effect or get a large amount of value out of it. So I think other silver cards are going to be better. Next up we have Black Beetle, a gold resource card. It is a rare, 5/5 in stats, and has Parting Shot. Put Black Beetle into the top 5 cards of your deck. He gets +5/+5, becomes free, and loses this ability. So the first time you play him, he's a 5/5. Then when he's killed, he becomes a 10/10. He's in the top 5 cards of your deck, and he becomes free. Well, if you're playing Lex Luthor and you can coordinate drawing this card with your, and time it so that you play him, you have Lex Luthor available. He gets killed, he goes back into your deck as a 10/10, who's free. You then use Lex Luthor and draw him almost right away and play him again as a free 10/10. That's good. So currently the gold cards that I run from Tyranny are Lex Luthor, I run Darkseid, I run Necron. Is Black Beetle better than any of those? I don't think so. Lex Luthor draws cards. Lex Luthor can also be like a 5/10 in stats, or a 7/10 even. Darkseid is just incredible. Arguably the best ultimate in the game. Necron is a really solid ultimate. I don't think Black Beetle replaces any of those. So it's going to be hard to find room for him in decks unless we're paired with a faction that really doesn't have good gold cards, or pairing him with a faction where we really have an incomplete collection. Otherwise, I think it's going to be hard to find room for Black Beetle in a deck. I don't think he's strong enough to replace any of the gold cards that we already have in Tyranny, which are generally quite strong. Now, he is a rare card and not an ultimate, and Necron and Darkseid are ultimates, and so players may not have access to them. And if you don't have access to them, is Black Beetle an acceptable substitute? Well, let's take a look at the other gold cards. And Appetite for Conquest is a card I see very often. It is situationally good. So a lot of players will prefer to play that over Black Beetle. Other than that, I wouldn't say there's much in Tyranny to compete with Black Beetle. So, pick your poison. Do you like Appetite for Conquest? Do you like Black Beetle? But if you've got Darkseid and Necron, you're playing those. If you got Lex Luthor, you're probably playing that. So, and I don't think Black Beetle is gonna replace those. So I'd rank him in like the B tier. And last, we have Ladama, a gold resource card with 7/3 in stats and deploy. If you've played at least 2 other gold cards this game, KO all enemy recruits. So this is a very late game card that is very, very strong if you can get that effect off. Now, if you're pairing your Tyranny deck with Tactics and you've got Paco, that will help. And in that situation, Ladama is one I'll have to experiment with. I could see this being an S tier card in the right deck. I could see it being a little frustrating if you haven't drawn gold resource cards all game and then you top deck Ladama. That's not the card you want to top deck. So like some of the other Blue Beetle mini set cards, it's a little bit feast or famine-y. I would say Skeets is that way. I would say Brenda could be that way, and Ladama as well. But man, that effect can be incredible in the right situation. 2 other gold cards is not easy. You'd need help from Paco, I think. I'm not sure I would play this outside of a Tactics Tyranny pairing, because we just don't run more than 10 gold cards, and I don't think the gold synergy really changes that. But if we're running Tactics and we've got Paco, and then you just need to play 1 other gold card in this card, and you could get value out of it, like KOing a really high value recruit like Superman or Hal Jordan. I mean, the ceiling on this card is very, very high, but not an easy effect to get off. So we'll need to test this. My instinct is to rank this card in the B tier as well, and probably to go with Lex Luthor over Ladama, but I might experiment with her and try out in a Tyranny Tactics deck Ladama and see how viable she is. She certainly has game-winning potential and S-tier potential in the right situation. And 7-3 in stats isn't bad otherwise, though it is relatively easy to deal with by a wide variety of cards, but certainly not bad. But definitely S tier potential, S plus tier potential in the right situation. Just flat out will win you a game sometimes in the right situation, but is it going to be better on average than Lex Luthor? Well, would you ever run Lex Luthor and Ladama and Darkseid and Necron? 6 gold cards, then you'd only be running 4 from another set. So let's say you're running Tyranny Might and you ran Ladama, Necron, Darkseid, and Lex Luthor, and then from Might you ran Highfather, Superman, and maybe 2 copies of Wonder Woman. That could work. That'd be 10 Might cards. That'd be really strong. What would you be dropping out from Might if you did that? Just in this example. Wonder Woman, Superman, Highfather, those are the cards I typically run from Might. I mean, that's perfectly viable. That'd be 10 Might cards. I like it. It's a little heavy on gold, but with the other gold synergy stuff from Tactics, I think that could work really well. So we'll definitely give that a try when the Blue Beetle mini set comes out. So that's all of the mini set cards that we know about. We'll take another look at the hero, at least what I theorize the hero is going to be. And that's this card with 25 HP and deals 3 damage to an enemy and increases when you play a gold card. Now in the comic he also spawned with a partner. I don't think that will be the case in the PvP game, because then you'd be running like all tactics, right? And I don't think that would make sense. So I don't think you're going to be running Blue Beetle plus his Scarab partner like you did in the comics, which means that this may not actually be the final version of the hero. It may be something entirely different. We'll have to see. And if anybody knows better, please let me know in the comments. But this hero seems so-so. The Blue Beetle cards seem really good. I don't think the tactics here that you're going to want to run generally is going to be Blue Beetle. It's probably going to be Batman mostly. But he seems okay. And we'll test him and see how it goes. He seems like maybe he could be comparable to Batman in the late game. Maybe Batman's better early, but he scales up later. That would make sense. If this is the final version. I assume that whatever the final version is, it's going to get this buff when you play a gold card. I think they'll keep that aspect of it, even if this isn't the final version. Anyway, that's our preview of the Blue Beetle mini set. No idea when it's going to come out. But I have seen Booster Gold spawned as an option to play in a create a card scenario. So these cards are active in the game, they just haven't activated them in terms of being able to buy the mini set. But it is a mini set that I'll pick up. If you get all of these cards with the mini set purchase and it's reasonably priced, maybe $10 to $15, I'll pick it up. I think it's pretty good. Probably I would rank it better than the Shazam one, and perhaps not as good as the Green Arrow one, though they are close, I think. So, thank you for watching.